righty.
Good morning, Bill. Well, thanks for taking interest in what's. We've been at Chacala 30 years, and I 25 years of doctoring. I realized that the poverty in the area has a lot to do with not knowing how to plant and what to plant. And people have been traditionally planting monocultures, like they will plant just melons or just pineapple. And at the house, the kids are lacking vitamins, they're lacking proteins. So the only thing that traditionally is planted is beans, corn, and the crop itself. So one of our efforts at Chacala was twofold. One, show that organic produce, well, it's threefold. One, we want to eat healthy. We don't want all the accumulation of toxins in the food because Mexican law is very lax about what people can use in the field. It has been outlawed in the U.S. and Canada. So one is that we wanted to eat healthy. Two is we want to show people that there is a growing interest in coming back to healthy food, and people will pay more. And it is more labor intensive, but you don't need that much land. With a little bit, you can do a lot. And three, there are a lot of local things that are natural here, like the mango. And people have organic mango in their yard because they never fumigate them. But they fall and they drop. The kids eat as much as they can until they get diarrhea. And then they lose it. And then they sell a huge box of mango in the height of the harvest for 30 pesos. If they sell it for 30 pesos, we teach them how to make a marmalade of an organic mango, low in sugar, with the right chemical balance. For 50 pesos a bottle. So, one of the great efforts for me in dealing with a lot of families over the years is poverty in women when their men aren't around, or when their men can't find work, which happens quite often in the field. And so we say, hey, take your mango produce. They grow peanuts here. Nobody's ever made peanut butter here. So now we have peanut butter that I get requests from Mexico City to send them a box. And totally organic, no sugar, just the old-fashioned hand cracker to crack the shells, and the old-fashioned 2 generations back roaster. Pour them in a jar, put it in an American pressure cooker, gets rid of any bacterial problems. And so one of the big goals in doing this is first to get it to ourselves right. And that's not easy. There's a learning curve on everything. But I'm enamored with food production, and I'm also enamored with going back to basics. How do people live without money and keep healthy? Before, all the grandparents, you could see a family of 12 kids. They didn't have money to take a bus to school, but they all lived very well because they had the cow, they had the pig, they had the chickens. So basically, thank you for asking me about this. We're getting a variety that has never been seen in the area. And my neighbors at the ranch say, if I knew how to eat that, I would steal it. And one of the kids that have come to clean, they said, oh no, Dad, they put a lot of stuff in it that makes it taste good. So the other thing is teaching the kids at our kids program. We have a kids program where my clinic was, is how to eat this stuff. And they're eating it. They're having salads. They're having vegetables. And then it can help with homework and creativity, music. So coming into an area of mixing cultures is a work of the heart, of sensitivity, of a case by case. But the bottom line is women need to have industry. Men need to know that there's a different market around if they have very little land. And we all need to cooperate and learn how to get it across as an example. So Chacala loves to be, they say in Spanish, if you want a sample, here's a little button. So this is the little button. And thank you. And Chacala has a very well-known cuisine because the cooks are very dedicated. So we take our produce and then make things out of it that go from Hindu to Arab to Italian. And when we do a theme, we do the theme well. I even brought kefir seeds from Thailand so that our coconut soup really tastes like Thai coconut soup. So we're very, very much into getting it to the point. It was a French night with white wine sauce, done right. So that's kind of the creative part and the fun part.
Tell me a little bit about Matahari.
Chacala began 30 years ago, and I came with my brother and sister looking for a place to do social medicine, and I wanted the countryside, and I found this piece of land that didn't have all the problems the land has in the rural areas. It was private property. And I thought, how in the world am I going to do social medicine I graduated from the University of Mexico. And I have to pay to be a doctor when you do social medicine. You don't get paid. And a nonprofit. I didn't want to be in the system, which was very corrupt, and the patients at a loss for the money that's around. So I said, well, I'm, from the era, we're about the same era where people meditated, did yoga, looked for healthy food. At least I was going back and forth from the States admiring this, let's cooperate rather than let's compete. So when I came here, the whole idea was I was going to do a holistic health center, but I really had no money, so we lived in shacks, took water from the creek. There was, it was very, very primitive, and I would work in the States as a doctor in San Francisco, and then the doctor said, I hear you do medicine in a rural part of Mexico. Can we send you students? I said, I live very primitively. There's scorpions everywhere. There's snakes everywhere. There's mud up to your knees. Hey, good to see you. So the students started coming, and it became an international elective for the University of San Francisco. I became an assistant professor to teaching American students how to deal with the farming patients, how could they really take the medicines, and also they learned how to deal with less, no CAT scans. We had a World War II X-ray machine, pipetted lab, and Mar de Jales slowly grew. After about 10 years, I got the first group that today left, a Sufi group, to dance in the mud, but they came and danced in the mud. And then my Zen teacher, I've been practicing Zen meditation since I was 20, came, a wonderful person from Green Gulch in Tasahara, and began giving to our human rights group how not to be afraid, and meditation classes. So little by little things happen in spite of you. So now Mar de Jales actually, I would say now about 15 years later, it became what I thought I was going to do at the beginning, but didn't do, because life just gave me something else to do. And now I'm really retired from medicine, and I'm totally dedicated to what I told you, teaching local people that organic is healthy for them, and other people want it, and that the women do not need to not have a penny in their pocket when they've got a local product that's grown by everybody, that can be organic without flinching an eye, that does not need fumigation, nor the peanuts, and they can do products that they can sell that really give them a way to give the 50 pesos to the kid when he needs money to go to school for something. So basically, Mar de Jales, I'm retired in playing again, and I'm glad to get beyond the illness of life to the health of life, because it's very hard in a rural society when you say, oh, let's be preventative. By the time you see that person, they're putting Cal-Sal on a cancer.
Yeah.
You see a kid with huge ganglion that they haven't gone to the doctor. The situation has improved in primary care. So I found it hard to move away from the clinic, but I think the kids and the farming is what needs to be focused on, and even if it's a drop in the ocean, I want to keep doing it till I die. Thank you for being so kind as to take an interest in this wonderful experiment.